Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Literarily Wasted. It is the last Wednesday in June, which means it's time for a book discussion
And a song.
and a song.
Yeah.
Because if I do it right now, I can get through it in one breath.
Here we go.
I lied too. Hi, Giggles and Randa and Joe and Carrie, Tim, Lisa, Jennifer, Jody. Hi, Kira and Stacy and Cindy and Brandy and Rachel and Kelly and Kira. Hi, Brandy again and Leanne and Leanne's niece, Lena or Lena. Hi, Jay and Judy and Stacy, Mariah and Kelly, Adam, Julie, Kira, Willa. Oh, it did the thing.
Oh,
Vicky,
no, you did the thing.
Vicky, Missy, Adrienne, Jay, Julie, Julie's Ben, Julie's baby too, Jay and Emily. Sorry, I got really excited. And Brady.
Hey!
Yay.
So, as you noticed, we got baby Benny here. He's freshly changed.
Yeah.
He's trying to talk.
He's very
Today,
excited to talk
we're
about
here
the
to
book.
discuss A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is a novella. So it's a short book. It's a nice short book for June. This is also, June marks our 4th anniversary, 4-year anniversary.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Literally
no, this
Wasted.
feels appropriate.
Um,
4 years later, and we have
Ababe.
still 4 people in the book stream, actually,
Yeah.
because Lucas is in Philadelphia
Yeah.
for
And
work.
he's here in spirit.
He's here in spirit. And we have a special message from Lucas as well that we'll get into once we start discussing the book. But I will say,
Drinking tea.
all 4 of us have read the book. I
Mhm.
actually read A Song for the Wild Built to Benny
And me.
and Chrissy. So Benny,
The whole thing.
Benny, yeah, the whole thing. So my voice is a little, but yeah. So Benny has read the book as well. Isn't that right, Ben? No. Yeah. And look at his onesie.
We wore it special for today. Oh, yeah.
It's a crab.
It's a crab.
He's crabby.
And if you're new to the book club, crab is an inside joke that has come about because several of our books had something to do with crab.
I thought you were just gonna be like, if you're new to the book club, everyone in the Live fam has crabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a requirement.
Oops.
Okay, so yeah.
Crabs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
There's all the crab emojis.
So I guess should we just jump right into the Psalm for the Wild Built?
Yeah.
Here. What did y'all think of the book? You want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I liked it. So like I made like I read the little blurb about what it is, and I didn't think that really matched up very well with what the book actually was, and that made it a little hard for me to get into. But I ended up really enjoying it, and I thought the ending was so great. And I think
What was that?
loud. I don't know.
It was like a
Yeah.
it's past here.
But I thought the ending was great, and I thought that there's a lot of really beautiful messages in this book that I really appreciated, and I think a lot of people can relate to. And we'll definitely talk about that more. But I'm really, really interested to read on, actually. I heard, like, of course, since they did a lot of world building in this book, book 2 doesn't have as much of that. And I'm very interested to see where it goes.
So he says, wasn't my cup of tea. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can totally see that, actually. I can see how I feel like we've read a lot of like books that are marketed as like this is like a nice like comfy read or a beautiful message or whatever, and with those it's harder to be like, why didn't you like this book? And I could see why some people would not be able to even get into this. That being said, I did really enjoy it. I already have the second one on my bookshelf, and I'm looking forward to reading it very soon. It took me 50 pages to get into it, because on page 50 is when Mosscap.
Yeah.
Page 50 is when Mosscap steps in. And for me, I was like reading through it, and I got through the first 49 pages and was like, okay. I was like, it's a little like we're going in the metaphorical direction, and I was like, this is not really capturing my attention, but it's like a nice story. And then as soon as Mosscap was introduced, it like lit a fire for me. And I
get it.
oh
Yeah.
that was not even intentional. Beautiful. And I loved the building of their relationship. I really enjoyed just Mosscap, period. And then at the end it kind of got me a little bit. The building of their relationship just like it hit me in the feels a little. And I do think it was really lovely. And we'll be reading the second one.
So we got, I think I put some comments on the screen. Jeff likened it to a churro from Disney World. Nice, sweet treat, but you forget it. It's just as soon as you get in line for Space Mountain. Never like the setting more than the plot. Doug the World Building didn't feel like spoiler well. We did get some great tea recommendations in the Discord.
Oh yeah, so many.
If you're into tea, so it took me a long time to get into this book as well. I don't remember the blurb, so I don't know. I didn't have any expectations.
Sorry, I keep looking. It's weird to look at the camera.
Oh yeah, we're in the same room again.
But I enjoyed it. Once I understood what it was, I enjoyed it. I think it was like, I don't know what it. I referred to it as like the My Dinner with Andre of books. Like, if you've ever seen My Dinner with Andre, it's a 2-hour-long movie where two people sit at a dinner table and talk to each other. But it's like there's a lot of conversations about philosophy and like world views and like different sort of contrasting world views and stuff like that. So it was like there was a lot of that. I mean, there were some like action sequences along the way of them like trying to overcome physical obstacles, but like really this book was about like Dex and Mosscap connecting over their differences or their different opinions of the world.
It's also humans and robots experiencing each other again after generations, like in learning kind of
for the first time.
So
Adrienne, there's no room in the frame. That's why it's too cute. Otherwise, it would be very small.
But yeah, and because I read this out loud to Christy and Benny, there were some parts that like really spoke to me. It was like I was reading it, and all of a sudden I was reading it like in my own voice. I was like reading about all these things about like finding your purpose and like I'm doing these things that make people happy. Why am I unhappy? Like that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this is me talking now.
Yeah, but listening to him read it, there was a moment where I was like, okay, he's like, this is what we were going through. And it was really interesting to feel that shift just as he's reading it. And like you could even hear it, it just, I don't know, it felt like it was just more intense.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
We can get into that a little bit more too. And it like really like harkens back to the dedication line at the beginning of the book, which was like, for anyone who needs a break. So
I think that probably resonates with a lot of the human experience.
Yep. But once I figured out what it was and I got into I think the world was great. I think the characters were great, and seeing them form this connection and sort of discuss things that they never have really even thought about until they got the other's perspective was really fascinating. It was it was a comfort. It was kind of like, I don't know, it made me feel kind of like Ted Lasso in a way. Like when you watch it, you just like kind of feel good at the end. And I've read other Becky Chambers. I've read 2 of the Wayfarers.
I haven't. This is my first Becky Chambers.
Same.
It feels like a Becky Chambers book, for better or for worse. But like it's optimistic yet thoughtful. But that's all. That's all I'll say about that for now until we start diving deep into this. Lucas he's in the chat. He's here, but he did send us his thoughts that we will play for you right now. So Lucas, take it away.
Lit fam, I'm so sorry I can't be with you tonight, but I'm traveling for work, so I am in Philadelphia right now, and I wanted to share my thoughts about A Psalm for the Wild Built. I will put this is one of is beach book recommendations. So I like that it was short. That was nice. So it was a perfect little beach read for me. I really like the world. I want to know so much more about this moon and how did we get to this point. So that was fascinating. I really liked Dex. I liked, some of the inclusion and with a non-binary character. I thought that was cool. Love Mosscap. You could put the robot in there with other great robots like R2D2 and the Iron Giant. Just a really great, what a great robot. I just want to know more, and I think that was my whole takeaway. It's kind of like a slow burn story, but it was nice. It was a nice departure. I just found it really interesting, and I have not yet read the second one, but had it been on Kindle Unlimited, I would have downloaded it right there and then at the beach and started reading the second one, which I don't know if it continues or if it's just kind of a complementary story within the world, but really excited to read that. I know Talia has already bought it physically. If she lets me touch it, then I'll read that one. But truth be told, I've been reading Wool outside of that. But yeah, what a great story. I highly recommend it as a sci-fi light. It really makes you think. It's kind of an existential thinking book about, and I think it's really relevant right now in the world of AI and, the Skynet land of where does this fit? And it's an interesting look at this society that developed so far to where robots were doing everything for them, right? Like, we didn't do anything. The robots were doing everything. So what does that mean? And how do we come back full circle? And it was just really fascinating to see the robots and to get that perspective from Mosscap about how certain robots spent their time, right? The one that just sat in a cave and observed the stalactites and stalagmites forming. Just really interesting. I was really intrigued. I loved the world, loved the robots. So yeah, it is a Lucas beach read recommendation. So again, sorry I couldn't be there with y'all tonight, and look forward to seeing y'all in July. Yes, it's almost July. Okay, y'all be good. Bye.
Lucas, everybody.
Clap for Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas's beach read. That should be like a Oprah's book club thing that we do. We put on. So
Yeah.
It's like Lucas's beach read
You're still muted.
graphic. No, she's not. We're using the same mic. So,
Oh, your swipey things, scrolly things in the opposite direction.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
I was like, what are the comments?
yeah. So nicely said, Lucas. Yeah, the fact we read this during Pride Month, I think that was really cool.
Yeah, that worked out really great.
So yeah, I want to go road tripping with the robot.
I do love, I know we already touched on it, but the evolution of their relationship I thought was just so special. In like a book where not much happened, like that's really the focus, I guess. Like Dex started out so wanting like hands off with Mosscap, not wanting Mosscap like to do anything for them. And it was just really hard for Dex. And Mosscap was just like so excited to learn everything. And then by the end, Dex decided that they were going to go with Mosscap on this special journey. And then Mosscap also was able to give Dex like the one thing that he really needed when they didn't even know that they did. I don't know. It was just really fantastic.
Yeah, the connection was beautiful.
This cover is also beautiful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a great cover.
Having read the book and then going back to stare at the cover
Yeah.
is really great.
Loved actually seeing both of them depicted. And I also love, it tells you right there what it's about. It's a monk and robot book. And it's just about them and their relationship. And I hope we get even more of it in the second book.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else are people saying? Mosscap asked Dex questions the way my kids ask questions about the world, and the way that makes me question the world around me myself. So I'm trying to answer them in such a clear way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so innocent. Like it made me think of that Ted Lasso quote, which is probably one of my favorite quotes from Ted Lasso, which is, if you haven't seen the show, first off, see it. But it's not a quote from Ted Lasso. It's a quote that Ted Lasso quoted, "Be curious, not judgmental." And that was just Mosscap's entire personality. It was just genuine, naive, and innocent curiosity of like, let me watch you cook. Be like, or, oh, you're getting dressed? Can I watch? Just wanting to be like, I want to understand everything. And I love that.
But there was also the underlying reason for why Mosscap was like that. Mosscap's like life philosophy, or like just outlook on life, which allowed Mosscap to to just have this like excitable curiosity, because on the one hand you had Mosscap asking questions and having this childlike wonder, but then on the other hand you had this Mosscap who was very what's the word I'm looking for, convinced, no, that's not the right word, just determined or whatever, just knew like why things were. And it, like when Dex sort of melted down and it was like, I don't know what my purpose is and blah blah blah, Mosscap just came back. It was like, well, why do you need this? Like, shouldn't this be enough? Like, this is how we live our lives, which was really cool to see. So like Mosscap on the one hand was very childlike curiosity, but it was because of this worldview that allowed it to be.
Sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm just going back. There's so many amazing comments, and I just read Kira's of how dare you work for a living. Correct me. Sorry.
Yeah, Lucas, how dare you?
That did. Sorry, I cut. Were you?
Yeah, I was rambling.
Sorry. Well, I saw Ashley's comment about unbelievable that no humans had crossed into the wild. I do believe they did. Like, I think that's mentioned that some did stray into the wild. They just didn't come back. They didn't make it back. They said the robots had seen humans before, just not alive ones, because they didn't know how to function.
It did mention that
in the wild.
Actually had an aha. Dex asked Mosscap, isn't it depressing to break down and be working? And Dex does that at the end. Somebody said, I think it was Leanne, said, if there weren't any crickets, I'm going to go on strike or whatever. And we finally got crickets at the very last line of the book.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, exactly what we wanted.
But it's, I mean, a lot of people have said, and we've even said, like, this is a book where not much really happens. Like, if you were to say, like, what is the plot of this story? Like, there's some stuff.
I feel like a lot happened, but it was all internal. And so, of course, and I mean, thankfully, this was a short book. Maybe I would feel differently. Maybe I would feel differently if this was a 350-page book, and then I would have been like, oh, yeah, nothing happened. But I mean, it was less than 150, and the pages are small, so I'm going to call it 90. There's 90 pages of internal happenings and self-discovery, which is obviously not like plot-driven action, I guess. But like someone commented about, like, Giggles was talking about, while I didn't understand Dex's need to share food when they did play out the food sharing scenes, it made me smile. Me too, because it was just like, that was a discovery that Dex learned about themselves. It was like, why do I feel this way? And then learning, and then for Mosscap to be like, sure, I'll play along if that's what you need. Like, just small little moments like that were really lovely and made me feel like I need to learn how to become a better human when it comes to social interactions with other people.
But there was a moment in which, like, obviously the external circumstances did play a part, and they ended up getting in some pretty grueling scenarios that really taxed them physically. But for Dex, it's interesting to look back and think that, like, things were going pretty well until Mosscap showed up. Like, at least in Dex's mind, like, at least on surface level, like Dex.
Are you talking about Dex's journey to the?
Yeah, like Dex was out in the woods and roughing it, and they had just finished making their food, and they showered
And had music
they
on.
had music on. Everything was going super, and then Mosscap showed up and just like scared the crap out of them.
Yeah.
But of course, it's kind of superficial, and they realized that sort of later on as they really went out and roughed it. They're like, I've been keeping it to the trails. Like I've never really known a world that is not touched by humans.
I did think it was really interesting when they were introduced and Dex was just didn't want any help from Mosscap. I can't remember if I already said that earlier, but that was just really fascinating to me, like not wanting to repeat history in any sort of like bad way.
But also I wonder, because I was thinking about that, I was like, is that purely Dex not wanting a robot to help them? Or is that also, does Dex not want help from anyone?
Yeah, I think
Like,
Dex was
Was that both?
Dex was totally going it alone. Like, and Dex wanted it to be
Yeah.
just them. Like it was kind of a point of pride. Like if I didn't do it, then it's not right. If I didn't do it by myself. And they even said, like, I don't eat meat unless I killed it myself. Like, they have that very much like I have to do it myself mentality. But
It just makes me wonder if that's like also, that's another part of them both helping each other and building their relationship with one another is, you grow by learning that it's okay to depend on someone else. And I don't know, I'm very interested to see. I know we're discussing this book, but it just makes me all the more interested to see how much growth happens in the second.
yeah, it would be interesting to see where this goes. I mean, the first part was Dex's travels, Dex's adventure, pretty much, and Mosscap joining them on that adventure is the second book. Then the opposite of that, and going to like take Mosscap to meet all the people, all the human people. You putting them away? What's he doing? Oh, hi, Benny.
Thinking about it.
His eyes are open. This is a rare sight. Hey, buddy. He's like, don't look at me. Flex those muscles though. Like,
Grandpa
in that
face.
crab tank top there.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
Oh, stretch.
Oh, there's a stretchy face. Okay, anyway.
And Christopher Moore did say the second book is worth the read. Well, I already got it, so we're going to read it.
I saw Dex seeming to believe that they were supposed to serve others and help rest and forgot to pause and depend on someone else. So I guess that's a good like segue into maybe we should kind of what you got something?
A tea pun. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Oh, yep.
Right? That's part of self-care. In order to take care of others, you must take care of yourself first.
Well, also going back to that comment,
Which one?
the one that you just had up about, I think it's also interesting their first experience as a tea monk, and how they ended up needing from the person they were trying to help. They needed that validation and that help, honestly.
Also, what a quick 2 years that was for us. Reading,
Yeah.
You're like reading a chapter, and next thing you know, 2 years later, we had this down.
I mean, but it was kind of nice you didn't need it.
True, we didn't need it, but it was interesting that they were able to become the best tea monk ever in that fast. But I also feel like Dex went in like wanting that as a goal, so it wasn't that unbelievable to me.
But the book did start. Let's go back and kind of retrace our hey, buddy. Retrace our steps. So the book opens up with like an excerpt from some religious text or some historical text about like the gods and the different reasons why certain groups feel like the robots left and people did what they did or something like that. There's like a weird like little excerpt.
Not all of that's stuck in my brain. That's why I said through like tea, like hot water through the tea leaves. So did the first 49 pages of backstory information pass through my brain.
Well, and I gotta say that beginning was a really hard place to start with this story because the rest of the story is so light and easy, and I thought that was you needed a lot more background to even get that. In fact, I meant to reread it and I didn't.
It was pretty dense, but you got to appreciate Becky Chambers, I guess, for trying to develop this world and doing this little excerpt from this text to sort of establish everything. But,
Bobby agreed.
Correct.
but yeah.
And also would have been like, that was not 5 years because we were here for that. It made no sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Kira loved the concept of the gods and really wanted to learn more. Really, what it boiled down to was just a few name drops here and there throughout the story. And we learned like this god, this group believes that this happened for this reason, whatever.
I have a little list of the gods, but it's
Ooh.
not very helpful.
Yeah.
But I'd still like to hear it.
The parent gods are Trichili of the threads, Grylum of the inanimate, and Bosch of the cycle. And the child gods are Chal of constructs, Samaphar of mysteries, and Alale of small comforts.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, and that's like the most basic list you can have. But yeah, I'd like more information on that too.
But then we're introduced to Dex, and Dex is a monk, but not a tea monk. What is Dex's original?
A garden monk?
Gardening.
Something?
That's right.
Which translates really well into your next career in tea.
Oh yeah, well, because
You gotta grow
Dex
some.
ended up growing all of
Yeah.
the tea, which I thought was amazing. I love that little bit where they were like figuring out all the different combinations and stuff.
Well, because I think with all that plant know-how, they really were able to be like, this is what I need to grow. This is what I need to harvest. These are the combinations that are going to work. And
Yep.
like, I mean, Joe has been going nonstop. I've been reading them.
Plans here. But then Dex decides to become a tea monk and get out of the city and like go to these like
Yeah.
villages, and eventually like Dex wants to hear crickets, so they're going to go out to like the middle of nowhere and try to hear those crickets.
Which we take for granted because we hear all of the bugs.
Yeah, all the bugs.
All of the time.
But then they discover they're not a good tea monk, and then they spend 2 years trying to be a tea monk and become the best tea monk, but that becomes an unfulfilling venture. And apparently, tea monks are kind of like therapists a little bit. Like you serve tea and you listen.
Yeah.
They're like Guinan from Star Trek. Boom! Knock that off your bingo card. Which is literally what Guinan does. She's a bartender and listens to people. That's the whole race. Elorian. Ah, okay.
Yeah. Focus.
But,
Come back.
So they become a tea monk, and tea, you just serve. You hear people's stories, and then you figure out like the best tea. You figure out like the best tea recipe for what they're going through. I guess there's a tea for everything, a specific tea for every problem, and then people feel good. But Dex did not feel good.
I did love how amazing they were at being a tea monk, like with the father of twins. Was it twins?
Mhm.
I just like, I don't know, the fact that they didn't give him a cup of tea, they gave him like a bag of tea.
Family bag.
Yeah, I don't
Family
know.
bag.
I thought
And to be like, sleep.
you could tell that Dex really was able to like help people and change their lives, and it's really interesting that they had that and they still felt so unsatisfied.
That's true. But so Dex
Joe.
decides to take things a step farther and like just get out of civilization. Right?
Yeah.
They take their ox bike and their wagon that's full of
Because most of the crickets have been extinct.
so full of creature comforts. Still, they take that off road, or not off road, but like into the wild.
Away, yeah.
Into the wild, and then they meet Mosscap, and that's where the magic starts to happen.
In
Plot.
a sad way, it honestly kind of, and this might have just been because I like was watching some of his movies recently last week, but it kind of made me think of Robin Williams, like someone who's used to feeling like an outside perspective of this person would be like, oh, their purpose has been to bring people joy, but there was none left for themselves, and
Yeah.
that's how I
But Dex
felt
set
about
out to
Dex.
find something. They didn't even really know what they were looking for. They thought they did, but turns out, thanks to Mosscap's intervention a little bit, that they had no idea, and things just kept escalating from there. Like now I'm a little like loose on the story points in terms of like what they did physically. There was a moment where they
Well,
rained and
the road was like decaying basically and was starting to like really have some wear and tear on the ox cart or whatever. And then there was the mudslide. They had to
That
go off
completely wiped
Yeah,
the road out.
like a lot of the road, and they had to go off road. Oh, and they had to go fill out their water thing. That was the first like true nature that they had to deal with.
oh yeah, and there was like algae and stuff in there. They were like, ew, it's gross.
Yeah. Well, and that's also when Mosscap took Dex to the like it was at
the factory.
the
The creek
factory,
and then the factory.
and they got to talk about remnants.
Mhm.
Remnants are to humans kind of like, I guess, ingrained instinct from
Fight or flight.
evolution,
kind of
the kind of deal.
What I was
like
trying to think of.
like remnants are why we're afraid of snakes. I guess I don't know. Like that kind of stuff.
I was like, fight or flight is literally the only thing. I was like, that's my only intuition that I have. And I don't use either of them. I think if I was truly afraid, I'd probably just freeze and then get
You know, there is fight, flight, or freeze is the whole thing.
I would like gut feeling. Adrian put remnants as
yeah.
gut feeling. I
Yeah,
like that.
gut feeling. Willis says genetic memory, which is an interesting concept. And then they just got.
Ashley. How take it back.
That's the hike and coast.
Take that back.
Uh,
I disagree completely. This
No.
had a real ending. That was good.
Hike, but not on crack. Capital C. Though.
and I can see that though, because they're both like meandering stories, except this one a little less happens, but it goes way deeper.
This one didn't give me nightmares.
This one wasn't so much about like the story. It was about it was about the conversation. It was about the talking points. It seemed to be like
The journey. The
we're
growth.
getting, like you
Exactly.
have your different set pieces, but each set piece is just another part of the conversation. It's like, it's my dinner with Andre, except my dinner with Andre. They don't go anywhere. They just literally sit at a table for 2 hours. It's Wallace Shawn. It's the inconceivable guy.
Okay, focus. Come back.
Kira.
Grand-
Yeah.
Grand
No. It's not just you. And I think I'm not trying to, when I say that, I'm not trying to take away with anyone connecting with that book. I think it's important for all of us to know, because sometimes that is a very, very lonely feeling. I think it is very human and very common for people to feel lost. But if everyone's a little lost, it's like, if everyone's a little lost, is anyone really lost? Like, you still have those feelings, but no one's really alone in that feeling. I think that's really part of the human experience. You're like, why am I here? What am I doing with my life? And how long am I going to keep doing it?
And
Like,
it's also kind of, the whole like
sorry, I read Bobby's comment.
thinking that you know what you're doing, or like, you think you're doing what you want to be doing, and then it turns out maybe not so much. And like, you see this all the time. Like, it's not like, the reason it's relatable is because it's widespread. Like, you even see, like, I think I've even seen it, like an interview with Rainn Wilson, who plays Dwight in The Office, talk about like, I had everything that I thought I wanted. Why was I miserable? And it's like, like people searching for this.
Yeah. No, we're not.
People searching for this purpose, and like, like the reason it spoke to me is because I think we all have some struggles here. I don't know how much you want to talk about. We can talk about it. You can be a therapist, but
I didn't
as
bring enough tea.
we already had our tea. I had caffeine in it.
Mine just too is Milo's.
We have Milo's in the fridge if you want some.
Oh yeah.
We just bought it today.
This video not brought to you by Milo's.
Yeah. Real quick, on Facebook, Adrian asked, is the idea that everyone has to have a purpose a strictly Western or U.S. idea? Why isn't living a good life where you aren't a jerk enough? And I think that's really interesting. I think it is definitely a Western and definitely an American thing. And I do think there are some populations out there that don't feel that way.
Well, it's
That's why
definitely
called the
something.
American dream.
I mean, like ambition and like striving for something is definitely something that I struggle with for sure. I mean, like we're just like trying to achieve this goal that we don't even know how to like quantify or like make tangible, or like how do you know when you're there? And like most people don't. Most people like just keep reaching for something that they can't like.
Another office quote. When Andy says, I wish there was a way to know that you're in like the good old days or whatever while you're still in them.
Yeah.
And like
Start adding office to the bingo card.
something we struggle with even in like as video creators for It's a Southern Thing or whatever. Like, we make videos and, do comedy to make people feel good. But then sometimes you just like, it gets so draining and you forget to take care of yourself and that kind of stuff. Well, we can go into therapy if you want to.
I will say I'm seeing some comments about specifically like Japan and Asian culture. Yes. But I will say I do feel like quite often, and I can only speak from personal experience, but Asian culture in regards to your purpose quite often deals a lot more with your family and maybe a purpose outside of yourself. Your purpose is probably not internally driven. It's about what is expected of you. And I do feel like it is very much a common thing here in America, especially like with younger and younger generations. We're all told like, you have to live your dreams. Like, right?
Chase
like,
your
don't,
dreams.
yeah, don't settle for like doing a job that you don't love and like all these things like, only do what makes you happy. And like, those are nice things to say, but functioning in the real world in that aspect is really, really difficult unless you were born into extreme privilege. So I think that's where at least me, like where my struggle has been. It's like, how do you find that balance of doing what you're supposed to do and also making yourself feel fulfilled and happy?
Well, it's like it's the equating that ambition and that like chasing with like that's the thing that's the thing that's going to make you like worth anything, and like people finding their worth in like that like it's societal pressure, and you put it on yourself. I mean, we put it on ourselves.
Like, how dare you settle? But how do you know someone's settling? You can only see them from the outside.
So it was really refreshing. Like that's when I started like reading as myself. We get to like Dex's meltdown and like Mosscap's response. It's like, oh, that's me a little bit. But it was really refreshing to hear Mosscap bring that point of view of like, isn't being conscious just enough? Like, isn't being conscious and like having consciousness and being aware of being able to just like listen to this, isn't that enough? Isn't that good enough? I'm like, it should be. I wish it was.
I feel like it's almost become a thing of like, it's frowned upon to be content, right? Like, it's okay to not strive.
Oh yeah, you
for
have to
more.
always be going to the next thing and the next level and
What's
pushing
wrong with
yourselves.
just being happy where you are? Like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like that should be a bad thing.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I don't know how we really got into that one. Didn't we? Like,
That's where this was going.
the crux of the whole thing is that Dex is chasing something they don't even know what it is. They just know that they're not happy doing what they're doing, and they want to find a sense of purpose. And Mosscap pulls it back and says, "Well, isn't this enough to have this purpose?" And I'm not really sure. It's hard for me to really like quantify where we ended up landing on that. I think they did find some connection. I'm not sure if we actually fully like hit some sort of concrete resolution, because it's of course something you just struggle with. But that conversation about finding a sense of purpose and that like strive took me all the way back to the dedication, which is for anyone that needs a break, which is like, oh my God, you're talking. Now I get it. Now I get why you're saying this is for them, because it's about like, hey, just take a break. Let's see. What are we saying? America having a purpose is being successful. What?
I'm just, the comments tonight, they're great. I'm like getting lost and just reading what everybody is saying.
Adrian, you and me both having struggles with like stagnating. I mean, and social media, I think,
Oh yeah.
doesn't help. It makes it a whole lot worse because like now people put their, they curate
Only
their,
the positive. Yeah.
They curate their journey. This and it's sort of whether it's intentional or not. It kind of you're putting it out there, and other people are kind of being like, well, I guess I should be this. I'm not this. I'm not feeling this way. I guess I should be. I'm not doing it right or whatever.
Well, I gotta say, that's one of the things I find about following V.E. Schwab so refreshing. Like, V.E. Schwab talks so honestly about her experience with like writing and like all of her struggles and like everything personally she has going on emotionally. And it's so refreshing. I highly recommend following her if
You
you.
have her newsletter. You get her newsletter.
Mhm. It's great.
But like social media is all about like, and then there's people talking about the grind and like, look at me and like, look what I did. And, and then, as somebody who makes things for social media, there's that constant pressure to keep doing it and to like stay in, because social media is so like fickle or whatever, like you then put your pressure on it. Like if I don't make a video, if I don't post something, I'm going to fade into obscurity, and then I will have, like there's an additional pressure into being that kind of creator as well. Social media is terrible, but it helps us come together as Literally Wasted. So we're
It's not
This
all
is
terrible.
the only good
It's
thing
the only good thing about
on social media is
Social media.
Literally Wasted.
um,
Because we're not about everything has to be bigger and better. Like bigger and better is not a real thing, in my opinion.
but
It's just words.
But the thing about is like you're constantly chasing something that you'll never like grab onto. It's just like the constant, like a hamster wheel or like
Who's Chef Adam?
Chef Adam.
Huh.
That's me. I'm a chef. We just want this is the best thing on social media. But like as it relates to sort of high, fast paced, chasing these dreams, finding a purpose, it's it's got to be it's making it way worse. I feel like as I don't know how to like look at sort of the generational mindsets of like back then we could just have a 9 to 5 and be okay with it. Now it's like you got to work 50-hour days and that sort of stuff, and that's your purpose. But yeah, I'm rambling and getting into my own issues.
No, and that's great.
I mean, but that's what the
Yeah.
book's about.
Yeah, it really is. On a
Really
lighter
about it.
note, like in the background on Facebook, Mariah asked or has requested some tea recommendations and recipes. So if anybody has anything that you recommend, go ahead and share while we continue speaking really deeply about stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I go to the grocery store and I get Milo's. That is my tea recommendation.
Yeah. And Mariah, I do recommend going to Discord because they've been having a great discussion about tea recommendations, but we can always use more.
Yeah.
Or when I'm with my friend Katie and we're guilty of eating way too much food together, she always makes me peppermint tea afterwards, which does make me feel less gross afterwards.
But yeah, we
were having Adam therapy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh no.
Well, here, I'll address Vicky. So yes, one, don't tattle on me to Texas. But when I say bigger and better, it's because when people say that as a saying, it is one thing. It's like that bigger equals better. And that is not true. Bigger and better, not a thing. You don't always have to strive for that. It's okay to just, that's where I'm so much more content with the life balance that I've been struggling to put my finger on lately. And it's because I just realized I don't have to do more.
Yeah.
You don't have to do more than what's asked of you. You don't have to do more than what's expected of you.
You don't have to do more than what like you need to do
Yeah.
or want to
No. And when it's outside those work hours, really hope my boss isn't watching this.
do.
But
I hope he is.
but you know, when it's outside of work hours, you know what you're gonna do? Not work.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we're here for. I truly believe we are not put on this earth to work until we die.
Well, a lot of it is like,
I
so
mean, I
there-
gotta pay bills. But,
you know, like finding purpose for a lot of people isn't about, so it's disguised as like you chasing your own things, but in reality, for a lot of the times, it's about like what you want other people to think of you, and it's about like, you know, your outward, your external. It's like doing things for other people, whether you're making something for other people or whether what you're doing is how you want to be perceived. It's like, you know, doing something because you like it versus doing something because you hope somebody else likes it.
well, actually, I have not seen that, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, it's like, you know, teaching children, I guess, like when they draw a picture and they're like, do you like it? And it's like, the more important question is, do you like it? Like, are you proud of what you did? Like, would you do that even if nobody else looked at it?
yeah, I think we've talked about that before when it comes to creating stuff. Like, and you've said it a lot, like in every single TED talk that we're ever like hired to give anywhere, and I just sit there and let you do all the talking. But it's true. You tell everyone that, and it is absolutely true that like if you want to create something, create it with the expectation that no one is going to see it, and you'll still be happy that you did it.
Yeah, making it for yourself and
Yeah.
not for others.
Yeah. Do it.
I want banana bread tea.
That sounds good. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We need a taste test.
But what doesn't sound good is thyme tea.
Oh no, that sounded terrible. And actually, it reminds me, my mom got this weird tea set for
she did.
Christmas a couple of years, and there was cumin tea in it. And so we made some, and it was just as disgusting as it
Did you even
sounds.
try it?
I don't know if I tried it or just smelled it, but
I drank a cup.
oh gosh, it was awful. And I'm pretty sure thyme tea is similar.
Cumin tea is if tea was chili, or if chili was tea, is basically what that tasted
It was
like.
awful.
Oh.
I can still feel it.
Yeah, you drank like a whole thing of it.
I did.
I am kind of the stereotype of a Southern person, I guess. I like sweet iced tea much more than I like hot tea. The only time I really want hot tea is when I have a sore throat or I'm not feeling well, and I usually just fill it full of honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot tea. Yeah, I don't do hot tea very often. I do the sweet tea.
You said doo-doo, and it took everything in me to not laugh, and I ruined it just now, but I was very close. It's very close.
I do the sweet tea.
Let's see. We have peppermint tea and peach tea in our cabinet. Like apparently tea is something you can't have when you're pregnant. So I have been off tea for a while. I know. Well,
caffeine free?
you can have the peppermint tea.
Okay.
There's like certain teas you can't have, which is
Can you have
sad.
chamomile?
She's been dipping her sushi in the
Don't
tea.
think so. Yeah. We've made up for lost time with raw fish, basically.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes, Joe. That is also a favorite part from Ted Lasso. Because it's just, it is. It's just hot, dirty leaf water.
If you put enough honey in it,
Then it's real yummy honey water.
yeah.
It's really hard to fight back against that when so many people look down on taking a break. It's true.
Yeah, they do.
Which I've been taking a break since we had little Benny boy.
I don't know if
But
you
see,
can call
that's
that
not
a break.
Nope, it's not a break. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's a break from
It's not a break.
the work. From work. It's a break from work.
It's a different kind of work.
Well,
It's still work.
it's a break from my job.
There you
But
go.
see, that's the problem. He went into parental leave thinking this is a break. This is not a break.
It's not a. It's a different kind of break.
You can't use the word
This
break.
has been nice. This has
Yeah.
been fun.
But
This has
see,
been like,
Work, something that's hard work can still be nice and wonderful. That's
Mhm.
actually what a relationship is.
it is. It is a break from me doing my job, which has been nice. That's what I mean by it's a break.
Ooh,
And I'll
leeches
stand by
and
that.
ticks, Vicky. Yeah, no. Sorry, when the robot was like, pull up your socks, I was screaming in my brain into the book, being like, and then tuck your pants in. Tuck your pants into your socks.
Mm-hmm.
So again, when I say taking a break, it means I have not made a video since we had Benny. That's what I mean by that. And it's been nice. It's been a nice break.
Apple pie
Is that
chai.
is that okay? Can I say that?
You're on thin ice.
Come on. Cut me some slack.
Yes. Joe, that's a great. Okay, let's dissect since we're all delving into therapy anyways and sayings that are wrong. The whole do what you love and you don't work a day in your life or
Yeah.
whatever. That's garbage. Doing what you love is still work. It's absolutely still work. And it's still going to tire you out, piss you off, make you think, why am I doing this? Push you to the point where you're like, maybe I don't love this anymore. Like, that's just what doing stuff is.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I
But if
think
you love it, then you keep doing
I
it.
want to say that, like, if there were some charts to help me back this up, that would be nice. But I want to say that, like, the level of people experiencing burnout is like an all-time high.
Feels
Just
like it, yeah.
Based on, like, work culture and like whatever we've been talking about.
Well, and also like how I think perspectives have changed as far as with COVID and everything, like how that changed how people look at work.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what the whole like work to live, not live to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
It's also a big Asian culture thing too, for real.
What is?
Because it's a big Asian culture thing. It's why my mom, who, if she's watching this, I love you, Suki, but man, did she want me to be a pharmacist.
Pharmacist.
Yeah, well, I was terrible at chemistry. It was never going to happen. But
I mean, if you look at it on paper, people come up to me all the time and they're like, gosh, you must just have so much fun. And like, I can look at it on paper and be like, yeah, we make comedy for the internet as our job.
And you do have fun.
And it is fun.
But it's also work. Sorry.
It's very hard work, and like burnout is very prevalent. And so like, and that's when you just kind of make jokes for a living and you kind of, you put out videos and it looks like we're having fun and we are. I think that gets lost somewhere in there. Like, we're working really hard to like keep this up, and also like, in a consistent way. And it's just, it's a lot.
I think people forget because, this is not at all related to the book, but comedy is really hard. And I say that to everyone too. Like, drama is so much easier than comedy because everyone finds the same things dramatic.
Who was it that said that? Death is easy, comedy is hard?
But comedy is hard. I have no clue because everybody has a different sense of humor. Different people find different things funny. So how can you appeal to everyone's
and humor?
funny bone?
Comedy has changed over the years. You go back and look at like a comedy from the 50s and 60s. You're like, what is this?
Or it's different
Vaudeville?
generational. My kid shows me things all the time. They're like, look at this funny video. And then I watch it. It's not funny. It's not funny. And it makes zero sense. And I can say that because my kids don't watch these streams. And they're not funny at all.
Well, I find that really funny.
That's comedy.
You just wait. Benny is going to be showing you stuff on your Google device that's implanted in your eye by the time that he's a teenager. And he's going to eyeball swipe it to your eyeball thing. And you're going to be like, I don't get it. Because we don't.
It's already happening. He showed me a lot of things that I'm like, that's not funny.
Ashley, that is a very accurate. I love from my mom, I would have made a terrible doctor mom. People would have died. That had to have been a book club book because I feel like I've read that book dedication.
It goes around a lot on social media. I don't think it was in one of ours, but someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, Lisa, improv, a whole different thing and so hard.
Yeah, the only reason we do what we do is because it's written down, and we can do many takes.
No, I can't do improv at all.
Ashley said it was a viral post at some time. That dedication, maybe.
We're gonna have to Google it, but I want to know if it really is in a book and what book.
Yeah. So, Becky, you wrote a short book, but we got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And
We
I'm
did.
excited to read the second one. And if Lucas promises not to bend the spine or the pages, then I'll let him read the second one too.
Do you promise, Lucas?
Lit fam.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but I would recommend, if you like this book, I would definitely recommend A Long Way to a Strange Angry Planet and its sequel. Those are the only ones I've read in the Wayfarer series, but they're also full of goodness and good thoughts and interesting characters and diversity and inclusion, and A Long Way to a Strange Angry Planet is kind of an episodic journey. Like, it feels like it could have been a season of a TV show, which I enjoyed. Like, Talia had an epiphany.
I had an epiphany. A Monk and a Robot book. But this is the one that was living the robotic life. And this is the monk that came in, and it took a robot for Dex to find humanity within themselves and realize this is what broke up the robotic cycle of my life that I was living.
Wow. Lightning strikes. But yeah, it was a beautiful book, and I do think it was related to the humans, and I think it's got a lot of the same sort of introspective qualities that the humans have, and that they both have characters that are looking at humanity from the outside and just kind of pointing out some of our ridiculous tendencies that we've gotten ourselves into, our ridiculous ways of thought or like outlooks and stuff like that. And I think it is interesting for human writers to be able to step outside of humanity with these characters that they create, and then be able to look back objectively on humanity and be able to be like, why are we like this? Why do you do this? What is human? Yeah.
And what's just remnants telling us what to do?
Just remnants. These darn remnants.
We're all robots. Let's go explore the wilderness.
Yeah,
like without ticks.
I don't really like being uncomfortable.
It's really hot outside right now, though. But like, if we can wait until it's maybe not, it's going to be like over 100 for the next 3 or 4 days.
I like being inside.
I do love it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, and that's not a worldview thing. I can be existential and be in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Well, the whole point of a big, beautiful backyard. You can just go barefoot and stand around in the backyard.
We'll look at the backyard from the window, I think.
Yeah.
But didn't you learn anything? We're supposed to be content.
Yeah.
So.
It's supposed to be.
Go outside and touch grass and then come right back in.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mariah. Like, can we explore the great forest?
Yeah.
Like, let's go to the kitchen and get some corn nuts.
We could explore the kitchen.
Yeah.
You have plenty of corn nuts.
Okay, the sequel is Dex and Mosscap being turned into crowds because they left the path.
Of course.
We got to put this on there. Strikes again.
If you don't know, that's the author of The Hike.
Yeah, he was on Chopped, apparently.
And that's how reading that book made me feel. That face. Randa, oh no. I'm sorry. I feel like that's one of those like sensory memories that sticks with you and you just like can't unremember what that felt like. I'm so sorry. That happened to me one time when I accidentally picked up a piece of fruit that had fallen behind the fruit bowl many moons ago. That was a sensory memory that I can't get rid of.
Yeah. When you have a skill set, you're taught yourself it's not to share it and make the world a better place. The pressure to contribute to the highest level you can is intense. And it's all about like leaving a legacy or being remembered, or like not just like
Mm-hmm.
disappearing when you die and like whatever. Like I want to be remembered.
Jeff, you don't have to apologize for loving the hike. The entire point
Jeff,
of this,
I like the hike. I like the hike a lot.
You should apologize. No, I'm just kidding. No, the whole point of the book club is that it's not just one person talking about a book. We're all talking about it because we're all going to have different feelings about every single book that we read. And that's what makes these talks great.
I had fun reading the hike. I enjoyed it.
I had some fun until I got to the end, and then I threw it across the room.
I liked it. Okay, well, we've reached the hour mark. So, any final thoughts on A Song for the Wild Built?
I'm just proud that we talked for that long about a very small book.
We have to get off our chest, There's probably a lot more we can get off our chest too. If we really, if anybody asks.
And I was already excited to read book 2, but now I'm even more excited. So that's always fun.
I want to read book 2 now too,
Mhm.
and that's my Becky Chambers MO. Is I just read the first 2 books.
There's only 2 books, so you're good.
Yep, it is a duology.
How many books in the Wayfarers?
4.
I've only read the first 2 in the Wayfarers.
Okay, Adrian, I didn't actually throw it. I metaphorically threw it out of my brain. But I did, I think I slammed it shut, and then Lucas heard me, close the book and be like, that's stupid. And then I, stomped it back and put it on the bookshelf.
It's not about the size of the book, but how you enjoy reading it.
Yeah.
Now, Leanne plans to read the second one.
Oh, I can. I can read it in the next few days because Lucas is in Philadelphia. So I'm going to read a bunch of books.
But it goes by fast, especially when you're not reading it out loud.
I mean, you read the whole thing out loud and it still went by pretty fast. You read it in 4 or 5 days.
You need to read the second book out loud as well.
Well, I'm sure Benny is chomping at the bit to hear what happens next in the Monk and Robot stories. But for July, we've got what are we?
Cat's Cradle.
Cat's Cradle.
I have it right here.
It was the runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of the runner-up.
Kind of the runner-up, kind of the winner. We got a Kurt Vonnegut.
It was both.
Yeah, it was both.
So this is about the same length as The Song for the Wild Built. It's still a short.
Although this book makes it seem big, but look at the margins. It's ridiculous. They're so big.
Oh my god! I do need to. I forgot to order.
Look at the margins.
Oh yeah,
that one really quick. It is in our Amazon. Oh, I need to update the Amazon store. So I think right now, technically, it is in the Amazon store, but it's in there as a runner-up.
Yeah.
But I will move it to the book of the month list.
If I saw these kind of margins on a college paper, I'd be like, "What are you trying to pull
Amazon
here?"
store.
I said a 4-page
cover
paper.
photos.
This, come on.
But I'm really excited to read this. I've read Slaughterhouse 5, and it was not for me. But I've heard that this one is way more accessible and makes more sense for the book club. So I can't wait to give him another shot.
Justice Vonnegut is considered a master for good reason.
And that will be on July 26th is when we talk about that book. We will be hanging out on the 12th. And when I say we, I mean just the 3 of us again, because Lucas had another work trip.
Yes.
Lucas,
Yeah.
come on. He's
Sorry, I can't be with you too.
He'll be in for that one. I will make sure we get some different videos to utilize for the hangout.
Buddy's barking. Hey, dog. We're on TV. Can't do that. We're on TV.
Oh, good. Jeff said that he likes this way better than Slaughterhouse 5.
Awesome.
Way better. I've read Slaughterhouse 5 too, but it was so long ago that I remember nothing about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay wants to know what the date was.
20.
July. So the club hangout is July 12th, and the book discussion for Cat's Cradle will be July 26th.
The 12th and 26th. Book on the 26th. Hangout on the 12th.
Second and fourth Wednesday.
So
August will be different because there's 5 Wednesdays. We'll get that's another. That's
we'll talk about that later.
That's future literally wasted problem.
It's taken us 4 years to get to Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Vonnegut.
Starting out that 5th year strong.
Yeah, hopefully.
Wow. We've done this for 4 years.
Oh, Joe has a great idea.
You were in your 30s when we started. It's okay. So was Lucas.
You know, Lucas clips.
I will. Let's see what I can do.
Lit fam.
There he is. See, we talked about doing this.
We're just gonna have him just make one video that's gonna be like, I absolutely agree with Talia. She is correct, and you just play it like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, we actually talked about doing this. We might do it for the next one. It's like, what did you think, Lucas?
Can't be with
He's just very apologetic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, that wraps it
Yeah, I
up.
think that's it.
We did
We
it.
got to show Benny Cam here. He's kind of buried.
He's
Aw,
He's
he's
passed out.
He's passed out in his little crab onesie.
Oh my God,
Benny.
boy.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey,
I
buddy.
like how I'm getting closer and closer to the screen. I can just do this. He's over there.
Yeah, there he is in his little crab onesie. Passed out, which means
The
he's going to
cutest
be
little
awake all
crabby.
night.
No, he's gonna sleep great. It'll be fine.
He says, "Hi, everybody."
Oh, good. This timed out well for Adrienne. And Jay will be in Casablanca. Okay.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Play it again. Okay. We're out of focus. All right.
You ruined it.
Well, we will see you on July the 12th. In the meantime, we'll see you on
Yeah.
Discord and on Facebook and Literally Wasted Lounge and all of the stuff. So if you want to keep talking about this, you want to help me through my therapy.
I clicked a comment. I put one on the screen. I forgot I
Yeah.
can do that when I'm here.
But yes, we can be vulnerable together. We've
Yeah.
got a lot to talk
We're all
about.
humans.
So thank y'all for
We are all
participating and making this a
humans.
fun discussion. And we'll see you next time.
Beep, boop,
Bye.
boop, boop,
Bye.
boop.
Nobody to sing with. It's right.
Ah!
Ooh.